distractions.
In this tutorial, I will show you how I finally found the setting to capture or record a 240 FPS Overwatch video for my PC. I found a bunch of tutorials on YouTube that had similar information, but it didn't just work out following their settings. Some had great FPS record but bad quality. Some had good quality but my video experienced high jitter or lag, and some failed to render, and so on and so forth. Perhaps it's a difference of graphic card, processor, monitor, or other settings. Just letting you guys know, my basic computer spec is a 34-inch monitor and my display background settings is set to 2560 by 1440. My graphic card is RTX 3090 and my processor is i9-10900K. So let's start. When you downloaded your OBS software, click on the Setting tab on the bottom right just above the Exit tab, like so. Now we will explore and configure the necessary tabs that are needed for you to adjust. We will start with the General tab. In here, the only thing that I could recommend is to change the theme settings to dark, because it is just easier for the eye to see and it looks better in my opinion. You can choose other theme such as Acre, Arachne, or the normal one. The second tab is for streaming, and you could connect your account with various platforms as you wish. Now, the important tab is this Output tab. I found out that the main difference for streaming and recording is that in general, the settings for streaming for the rate control is CBR, and the settings for local recording rate control is CQP. We will start on the second tab, which is for the recording. On the very top, you will see the output mode. Now we will see this mode from simple to advanced. Leave the type to standard. And the recording path is where you want the video files to be found once the recording is finished. My recording format is MP4. Now, this is a personal reference, although I suggest to choose between MP4 or FLV for basic beginners. If I am not mistaken, the difference is just that in case for any sudden interruption of shutdown or program close, your files will be not able to recover from this method. So for now, we will stick with MP4. Now with the audio track, I'll leave them just as default. Mine's ticked as 1 and 4. And for the next one, the encoder. Change this or leave this at NVIDIA NVENC H.264. And now to the rescale output. Before we move on, I would like to switch to the video tab on the left here, and we will return to this tab shortly. Now, to the basic canvas resolution is generally the same as your display settings for your main monitor that you would like to record. Even if your monitor settings can go up to 4K, please do make sure that you check it to be the same. In order to do this, right click on your desktop, choose your display settings, scroll down and see what is your current display resolution. If possible, the one that is recommended will be the best option for you. Now to the output scale resolution. Mine is lowered down to 1920 by 1080p. Notice the difference between the base canvas resolution and the output scale resolution. The main reason that I'm lowering the quality to 1080p is that the finished video that I found lagged out most of the time. Either my PC is not strong enough or fast enough to render in 2K if I use the same base canvas resolution. I'm not sure if it's because my computer, I am not sure if it's because my software, but I found out that if I downscale the output scale resolution, it's perfect. Now onto the downscale filter. I chose mine to be the land cause, if I pronounce that correctly. So because this offers the best colors. I tried recording using the other settings and I found out that the color distortion is vastly different. If your computer is strong enough, I urge you to try the last one. Sharpen scaling 36 samples. Now onto the FPS. There are three options here. The first one, the common FPS values, integer FPS values, and fractional FPS values. If you would like to record a high def video quality, I suggest you stick with the 60. But if you would like to record a high FPS games such as Apex Legends, Overwatch, or perhaps Counter-Strike, you could change to fractional FPS value and change the top one to 240, the bottom one to 1. Now notice that some games such as Overwatch now, my computer can run up to 400 FPS on that game. But I found out that the video that were produced after the recording were horrible and it jitters everywhere. So I stick with 240 and the settings for my Overwatch, I lowered it down to 240 FPS. Denominator is 1. And now once you finish, make sure to click on the apply button on the bottom right to make sure everything gets saved. Perfect. Now let's get back to the output tab. Recording. Now, if your monitor is like mine, a 34-inch 2560 by 1440 display resolution, I urge you to take this box and pick 1920 by 1080. Now moving on onto the box on the bottom here. We will start on the rate control. The rate control options that you will pick is the CQP, and the CQ level is 20. Now, if I am not mistaken, the original settings will be set to 15, and the number is tweakable depending on your preferences. But somehow, for me, the magical number is 20. I found out it provides the best output video with the least lag so far. Leave the keyframe interval to 2. Now onto the preset. If you click on the drop down box, you will see a lot of options. I will briefly talk about the main differences that is quite obvious. Max quality is for recording low FPS games for high rendering games. and the max performance is for fast-paced games. Now I found out that my computer are able to render on the quality settings, not the max quality settings. For the max performance or performance, the color difference for me is reduced until it's clearly visible is different. The FPS is there, 240, but the color is not there. So for this part, you might try to record your video with different presets over and over until you find the one that is suitable for you. Usually during team fights, you know that your computer are able to render a lot of pressure while maintaining the quality and the FPS. So therefore in here, this one you guys might have to experimental for yourself. But for me, I stick with quality. When you try to record, don't try and record your video with very little movement or action on the screen, as will be very, very different when your character are in action. Now for the profile, I set mine to high. Take the box for the look ahead. Take the box for the psycho visual tuning. Now for the GPU, I set mine to 0 because I only have one graphic card so far. If you have two graphic cards, then you will choose number 1 and number 2 for your preferred graphic card when rendering. The max B frames, I leave it to 2. Now, when you're ready, click on the apply and we will move to the audio tab on the left. The sample rate, I am keeping mine on 44.1, and for me it doesn't make much difference, but if you find out that you like the 48 kHz more, feel free, by all means, you can tweak this in the future. The channels, I kept mine to stereo. If you have a different output sound systems, feel free to change this as you wish. Now for the global audio devices. For me, the desktop audio, I set mine for to my earphone, and everything else is or are disabled. If you would like your in-game mic commentary to be on, please do link this with your current microphone. But for me, I put it disabled, and perhaps you would choose and do the recording for your voice later on. Now we will leave everything by default. Click on apply on the bottom right. And we will move to the next one. Because we've done the video tab earlier, now we're moving to the hotkeys. Now the only important here is perhaps the start recording, the stop recording, and for the start streaming and the stop streaming button that you would like to put. For me, I put F12 because it's just easier for me. If you want it to be F10 or any other buttons, please do feel so. It's a personal preference. Now on to the last tab, which is the advanced tab. In the general, my process priority is high, because I think my computer are able to render and to process everything in high. You might want to tweak a bit just in case your computer tries lagged a bit, perhaps. The video, the renderer, mine is Direct 3D 11. The color format, NV12. Color space, 709. The 601 is a personal preference as well. You might want to try to tweak 709 and 601, but for me, the sRGB is a horrible option. Color range, mine set to full, and from here downwards, I leave it as default, or you can choose to set some other time. And there you go. Click on apply and OK. And I hope with this tutorial it will help any of you out there that spends countless hours like I do to capture 200 FPS games with good color and quality. If you want any other tutorials for capturing or rendering videos, please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe. And oh, I almost forgot, do not send the video straight to YouTube without any video editing software. And until next time, see you dude.